He collected a lot of money and then sent to Saudi Arabia. I did all around 1960.
So even at that time, there was no A level at Azhar.
Senior Hameed asked me, "You guys went to Ashravidyalaya. This is where the politics comes." So I went and told Mr. Hameed. At the same time, I went and met Badiuddin, Islamic Socialist Front. That time it was Akurana Azhar. He is the only winnable candidate. Started the kalvich to develop Akurana.
So you went to Nigeria from Sri Lanka.
Since I came to USA, Meezan, his name is Mohideen.
So Meezan is the business name.
Yes, his business name. His real name is Mohideen. I heard somebody calling, "Jaleel, what are you doing here?" Mr. Rahman, Dr ACS Hameed and myself, we three of us are walking towards his hotel.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program. This is the Wisdemy Telling Life program, and we have a very special guest today. That is Mr. Jaleel, who lives in the USA, left Sri Lanka maybe about 40-50 years ago, have settled in USA for a long time. So let's go and meet him. Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Jaleel.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome to the program. Very pleased to see you after a long time.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. It's nice of you inviting me for your program.
Okay, let's start. You come from Kurugoda Akurana.
I was born in Kurugoda. It's part of Akurana, of course. Kurugoda, of course, people are misspelling. It should be Gurugoda. When Senarat gave the land for the Akurana people, some of them, the learned people, went and settled down in Kurugoda. So one time the king was walking around and he saw a lot of gurus, that means teachers were there. He said Guru Goda. That is how Guru Goda name came. To be frank with you, if you see even recently, a lot of graduates from Senior Hameed to Sharif and then Mr. Zubair, Mahroof, Dr. Mahroof, all these people are from Guru Goda. I mean Kurugoda, if you say that. So even our MP is from Kurugoda, like that. All the learned intellectuals are from that part of the village. So I am proud of it. And moreover, when the schools were built, 2 schools went to the people, those who were living at that time. That was nearly during the British period. They took 2 schools in Kurugoda area, that is Kurugoda boys and Kurugoda girls. So they were keen to teach the girls also. So that is about the village.
Okay, so when were you born?
Of September 1944.
Tell me about how Kurugoda was in the 1950s. You probably remember as your childhood.
You know, when we were growing, Kurugoda was like any other particular Akurana villages. Now I can remember our classmate Mansoor was explaining about how Akurana was. Same way, no roads, only footpath. We used to climb up and down to go to the school. Pretty much a very typical village. I think most of the areas are developed. That is how it looked like. Both sides, paddy field and jungle. People are very much doing day-to-day job. Not all are businessmen. Only few are business people. And we were studying in the school from morning 7 till 3 o'clock. After that, we come home, eat our lunch, and go back to madrasa. That's Arabic learning school. And then we come back at 6 o'clock. Then after 6 o'clock, my father takes us to the masjid to pray Maghrib. And then we stay there till Isha, because my father was the khatib. So till he finishes the Isha prayer, then we come home. This is our daily routine.
Okay, what's your father's name?
My father's name is Game Gurnan Salah Gedera Abdul Qadir Ali.
We are also Game Gurnan Salage. My father also Game Gurnan Salage.
Oh, mashallah. Okay.
So there must have been some connection. Yeah, say again. So what is his background? He went to
my father was born in 1886. He was very much interested in learning Arabic. Then when he was as a youth, he told his parents, "I should go because that time not many Arabic colleges were there in Sri Lanka. He went to India, and and learned Arabic. After that, he was one of the, when he came back, he was one of the earliest teachers, got appointment from the British people, like TMS and all other people. The early appointment was given to those who know. He knows English also, he learned English, and then he was able to obtain his teaching job. And you know really what happened? While he was teaching, he was interested in taking the people to Mecca. He was on the religious side always. He was thinking that people should do Hajj, those who were able to do Hajj. So he did something, talked to some shipping companies, those who were doing the traveling business. Then he arranged some cut rate fare, the ticket, and then he obtained the ticket and paid them. And somehow he managed to take a group of people. And like that, he went 7 times to Mecca. And he wrote a book about how to perform Hajj and all that. So that was beneficial for the people to perform the Hajj. That Hajj Walihat, that was in Tamil. And one time he was relating the story, there was a huge famine. People were suffering from starving. You know, that time the oil was not that popular. So what he did, he came to Colombo, met a lot of rich people, and traveled to villages also, met rich people. And he was good with Razik Farid, Dr Khalil and all these people. He collected a lot of money and then sent to Saudi Arabia. He kept that connection with Saudi Arabia. The funny part, he was 1956, he went last time I can remember. He was holding the British passport. He didn't get it. And he opened up madrasas and even some of the schools with the help of Razik Farid and other people. Those schools were started, especially the girls' school and the boys' school and all that schools were started at that time.
Okay, so how many siblings you are?
I have 5 brothers and 3 sisters. And now only 2 brothers are living. My twin brother and another brother, older brother, and no more sisters are living here.
Right. Now, tell me, you went to university, but before that you were a school teacher, is that right?
Actually, not a school teacher. Actually what happened, soon after we set for the GC oil, and at that time Kalugalla was the minister. He offered those who are staying home to get pupil teacher, $100 rupees a month. So we said for the exam, those who pass the exam only will be selected for that pupil teacher. And we got the post at the top 10, like that. Always we are in the top 10. You won't believe, so it should not be boasting. Since my grade 1 to grade 10, I was first in the class.
Yes.
And I got my grade 6 scholarship exam, but I couldn't go to Talato, it's too far. So I studied, I gave up that scholarship also. Mr. Aziz came and told me, hey, you are the first one to be selected to the exam, why didn't you go? I said, I'm a neighbor. So that's all, that's the end of the story. Anyhow, in that class, all of my colleagues were smart guys, That was the first time Azhar, Maharvidyalaya, produced the first division. All of them got the first division pass. And most of us couldn't go to university at that time because we didn't have advanced level. But there were qualified teachers. I don't know what really happened. They all could have tried and started at the advanced level. But we were trying here and there how to make advanced level in our school, in Azhar. Then I can remember one time I met Mr. Sheikh Ali. He was very close to Mr. ACS Hameed. I asked him, you have a big connection. Can't you do something about starting advanced level in our school? We know that we have to upgrade the school, then only we can start. Then he said, the principal should go. Then only we can upgrade. That is the reply he gave. But we love only Aziz. That principal is a very fantastic man. We don't want to send him like that. Then I just kept quiet. I didn't pursue any other people. Let us send him. A lot of people tried and ultimately he went. But by that time he went to the university in 1965.
So Azhar started A level. Oh, what is the time you are talking about? When was it that you did your O level?
I did O level in 1960.
So even at that time there was no A level at Azhar.
No, no.
So where did you go for your A level?
St. Sylvester's College.
Oh, okay. So tell me about your university period. So I know you studied with Mr. Nufail and all.
Yes, yes. I saw that his interview also. We were in, actually speaking, first we were sent to Columbia University because that time what happened, a huge number of people were selected to university. They didn't have enough space in Peradeniya, but they sent all of us to Columbia University. Anyway, they started that, the race course, the Thurston race course. That was our lecture room. Thurston race course was our lecture hall. Because the senior medium, there were 2,000 students were there. To accommodate them in one class, they could have divided, but no lecturers. That was the problem. What they did, they acquired the Thurston race course and then started the classes there. So because the Socialist students were admitted to Thurston, that race course, the Tamil students were not given any option. What they did, you all have to go because follow them. So we all went to Colombo Thurston race course. Later on, I can very well remember one time Senior Hameed asked me, "You guys went to Ashwavidyalaya, no?" He was asking me, "It's not Vishwavidyalaya, Ashwavidyalaya like that." I said, no, one day you see we will come to the real Vishwavidyalaya. The next year itself we came to Peradeniya. That is 66 and 67, 68 like that.
Right.
We completed in 68.
So you did geography, is that right?
No, I did general. I did geography, economics and Tamil.
Yeah, some highlights of your campus life?
My campus life, we were in Marcus Hall. In Marcus Hall, mostly what happens, it was a kind of competitive exams. People, we know at least 30 to 40% people will be failed. That is the kind of, I don't know whether it's a brainwash or people were thinking we have to work hard. So most of the time what I did, I spent time in library. One time I was studying in the geography room. The geography lecturer came and asked me, "Are you doing geography special?" Then I said, "No, I wanted to, but I am so fond of doing geography, so I am referring my geography books." Like that I was referring to geography because I love the library because 5 floors, you remember that, right? You studied there or?
Yeah, I was there for a brief period, yes.
Okay. So Peradeniya library is one of the best library in Southeast Asia. Peradeniya University located in a nice spot. I think Judge Akbar is the one who found out that location. He built it. We must praise him. And he said very late only the university authorities opened up a hall in his name, Akbar Hall. But we were in Marcus Hall. And one time we were in Marcus Hall, Vijay Kumar Tunga, I don't know, you remember him?
Yeah.
You remember him. He was staying next to my room. I saw him, this is Vijay Kumar Tunga. Then I asked him, what you are doing? No, Machan, we are making a film here. What kind of film? Then he said, Handan Katha. That is how I came to know that. Then we went looking for the shooting places, and this guy and Marini Fonseca dancing and all that, we were watching, and that is one of the memory I still preserved, but that's, but I very pity him. That's a very nice guy, very friendly with everybody. They killed him.
Yeah, now you get married after campus, is it?
That's another big story.
Yeah.
With 68, I passed out.
Yeah.
Till 70, I couldn't get a job. But it's a this is where the politics comes. When I passed out in 1968, I was trying to get a job here and there, all over the places. I could not get a job. The reason later on I found out, I couldn't get a job for 2 years for certain reason. I will finish because I don't want to disclose all the political. In 1969, what I did, I started a union, Muslim Graduate Union. Why I started? Because we heard that the Education Minister Iriyagolla gave 400 appointments to only Sinhalese, not a single Muslim. So I went and told Mr. Hameed, this is what happened, we have to do something. At least take this affair to the Prime Minister, talk about it, at least few Muslims should be appointed. Then he told me, you said you have a union. Yes, I said. Can you bring all of them to my house? I said, yes. I invited all of them. Maybe around 40 of them came. I called them, everybody, I come and we'll participate. Let us help other people, those who don't have jobs. Then we met him in his house. You know what happened? We saw a lot of reporters in his house. And then he conducted the interview in English. Most of our colleagues didn't know much English. They managed it anyhow. The following day, we saw in Observer, Sunday Observer, in a big letter, ACS Hameed meeting the Muslim graduates. Like that, in the big letters it came. At that time, M.S. Mohammed was about to give a couple of people some appointment. He cancelled them. You go and get appointments from police. This is one of the stories. I didn't want to tell all that. So this is how I ended up. But at the same time, I went and met Badiuddin because I was friendly with Badiuddin at that time. I wrote a book when he wanted to contest a seat. He asked us to write a book about ISF, Islamic Socialist Front. Write something about it. Then I wrote that small book for him and handed over to him. And then after a couple of months, we went and this is what happened. He said, work for the election. Our government is coming. I'm going to give appointment to all the graduates. Mind you, he called us to his house. He told us, I don't care, UNP, SLP or any other party. I'm going to give all of you, all the 70 graduates who passed out for the last 20 years. And he gave the appointment. That is what really happened.
Okay. So what is that book again?
That is about why should we support ISF, Islamic Socialist Front. That is before Muslim Congress and all that started. Badiuddin wanted to start a party, ISF party, in order to get the Muslim votes. He had the intention of contesting the election. And I want to come to another story that also connected to this. During that period, the Delimitation Commission was functioning. That time, Titawala and Mr. Farooq and another Mr. Tamil gentleman, I forgot his name, they were the members. Then I told Dr. Mahroof, that time Kalvich was there. In the Kalvich meeting, I told him, we will carve out a Muslim majority seat, so we don't have to depend on Sinhalese. He asked me, is it possible? I said, yes. I did geography, I know the population, all that. We connect in the shoelace something like a horseshoe-shaped constituency, something like that, and we make a constituency. Then I draw the map, I spend a lot of time, big map and all that, statistic and all that, and Badiuddin was impressed when he looked at that. Okay, I'm also coming to interview the Delimitation Commission. So Dr. Badiuddin, Dr. Mahroof and myself, the three of us went to Kandy. The meeting was held in Kandy at that time. We went there and we presented that. And Titawala was, one thing happened, he knows Mr. Farooq that his brother is going to contest. So if he is there in the commission, he can't favor a Muslim constituency. Maybe kind of favorism will be there. He told the reason and he left. And they, instead of that, they put another Muslim there. Anyhow, Titawala managed to control all of them. And then even he took the Akurana name from that. That time it was Akurana seat. There was no name Akurana seat. But Harispatwa, he named this Harispatwa. And he told us, Akurana is a part of Harispatwa, so we will call it Harispatwa. So because Socialists also should be represented. Like that. Ultimately we lost Akurana, we lost Akurana seat. I mean the constituency what we proposed.
Okay, then again, you were affiliated to Dr. Mahroof as well. You were working for SLFP at that time?
That is also a funny story. I have come back to that. In 1969, I was wavering. I know that Mr. Hameed should be in power because he is the only winnable candidate. I know very much. We should not compete with him to make a Muslim seat. What happened in Rajadure and Devanayakam did in Vetiglo. We lost the Muslim seat in Vetiglo area. Something should not happen. That is what they were planning, to elect two Socialist people. Anyway, when 1969, Mr. Hameed Mahmood called me in the masjid, I hear that you are writing notice and all that. What are you going to do? Are you going to work against Hameed? He called to his house. He met me in the masjid. He asked me, can you come to my house? I said, yes. He told me, that time Mr. Senior Hameed and Mr. Taha and some others were sitting there, and they asked me, are you going to work against Hameed? Then I told him, last 2 years, I graduated, a lot of like us couldn't get a job. This time, definitely, SLP is going to come to power. So we should not lose the chance. That's the only reason I'm supporting. I know Hameed, nobody can beat Hameed, he will be winning. But at least for the sake of supporting somebody whom we can go and get the help, we should work for him. Then that time I worked for Meezan Hajiar. He was actually Badiuddin wanted to come and contest, but he knows that he can't contest with Hameed. So that if there was a Muslim seat, he wanted to contest, but that was not there anymore. So he put Meezan Hajiar into the picture. That was before Mahroof, Dr. Mahroof.
So how did you end up with Dr. Mahroof?
In 1970, Mr. Meezan Hajiar lost, but the government came as I predicted to Senior Hameed, and then we all got the appointment within 3 months. And then after that, they gave me an appointment far away place. And when in 1975, I came back to Azhar. Then we found out Azhar is in the same situation. We want to build up. No proper science lab, no science teachers and all that. So we thought that we have to do something, and that is how Dr. Mahroof, Mr. Sharif, Mr. Marjan, Mr. Mubarak, Mr. Advocate Ismail, about 6-7 of us got together, and we started the kalvich, Board of Education. And there day and night we worked in order to build Azhar.
Tell me a bit more about Dr. Mahroof. You interacted with them a lot.
Yeah, every morning, every evening after he comes from clinic, we go to his, at least twice a week, we go there and discuss about, not politics, but I don't know whether you heard about that. Most of the notices, I was the one who wrote them. Then we discuss what we should write, and we discuss these are the things we should write. And I think the first notice when we distributed in the masjid, that after 2 days we heard that Mr. Hameed wanted to convey the meeting in Azhar. The meeting was conducted. Mr. Ghafoor was presiding, and Mr. Hameed also came. And then Mr. Khalil took one notice and started reading. Because I didn't put my name because it is against, I was teaching at that time, I didn't want to involve my name. Anyway, Then he said, there is an ikanna is there. That means there is something fishy in this notice. I said, to develop Akurana, this is what I will be mentioning, that nothing else. Then Mr. Hameed jumped to the scene and said, no, that is something is there. You all are trying to make politics and all that. I said, no, sir, this is how we have to develop Akurana, all that. They was a little bit, Anyway, that scene I remember that scene. And after that, Mr. Ghaffur, he helped a lot. And we went to Badiuddin also helped a lot. And Mr. Hameed also helped. After that, he found out education should be given to the children.
Now tell me a bit more. So what happens to you next? You get married then?
Yes, while there was a classmate, he was classmate also, Mr. Zaru. He was a Bolagala son, he's engineer Zaru. He sent someone as a proposal, his sister's daughter. I didn't know at that time it was her. And my mom went and saw her and said, Mahan, she's a very Jinatanapula, that means she's a nice girl. Then I said, I don't want to go against my mom's wishes. So I said, okay, mom, I will get married. That is how I ended up in that marriage. That was actually Zaruk also a little bit interested, so I thought, and that family is also well-to-do family, they are a nice family. I know all of them, so that is how And then from there, in 1977, the government toppled, so government changed. They sent me to very far away that is in Trincomalee area. You have to go by walking in the water to that school, and then otherwise something like that. They found out a very remote area. At that time I was teaching in Deltota. Then I told the people, I don't care, I am prepared to go anywhere I am posted. Like that I told them that I don't care, I can go to any place. The people, they called the PTA immediately, and then they called the MP that time. They said, Mr. Hameed can do whatever they want in his constituency, but he cannot touch our constituency. Your MP is opposing, you are being transferred to another place. Now he cannot do anything. I said, Alhamdulillah, I will stay. So I didn't go anywhere. So I stayed there. Later on, I came to Azhar.
Okay, so when did you leave the country?
Okay, that was early part of 80s, later part of 70s. And then that time I know that they are going to send me, I'll be getting punishment transfer and all that. I was so fed up of, the system. If you don't get the opportunities, at least you don't bother the man just because of he worked for the other party. You know what is happening in America or other Western countries, they don't touch you or, they don't bother you. Getting a transfer is not a big thing. Just you go and tell them, this is my problem, they give you the transfer. Actually in Nigeria, when they gave me a remote area, and then I went and told the director, I have some difficulties. He said, which school you want? I want a school in the city. Then he wrote and gave it to me, go to this school. That was the main city in Sokoto state. So like that, the director, not the MPs and all that.
Yeah. So you went to Nigeria from Sri Lanka?
Yes.
With family?
With family. They gave the ticket, whole family. Because the team came to Sri Lanka to recruit the people.
Okay.
So they interviewed us. So we were selected. A lot of people were there. And then they selected a group of people only. They gave the ticket and we were there. Nice place. Nigeria is a fantastic place. At that time, not now.
Yeah.
People are so kind. So
Right.
I love. The only problem, what happened there, army government toppled the democratically appointed government. So that guy, when he came, he reduced the remittances. Only 25%. Before 50% remittance, you can send home. So we found that we cannot save enough money. So we thought it's pointless staying there. Then I tried USA. After that, I got the visa.
Okay, so tell me a bit more about life in Nigeria.
Nigeria is a beautiful life over there, They gave us a quarters, they gave us a car, and the children are very helpful. In the evening, they come and help you a lot. And the teaching, only 3-4 hours only per day. So we have a lot of relaxing time. We enjoyed. If not for that remittance problem, I would have stayed there. And actually, every month we go all over the country. It's because we have a free car and free everything almost. We don't have to spend much of time, money, because the cost of living is so low. Right. You go to the market, you just catch the chicken, or you tell the guy, get me the chicken. Then they regard the teachers so much.
Right.
They bring the food to your house. When we go by car, they come and load the things and all that. They are very helpful people. I miss them.
Yeah. So were there a lot of Sri Lankans?
When we were studying, they recruited people from various countries, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh.
English-speaking teachers.
Yeah, those who teach in English medium. So they recruited. There were some Sri Lankans also, yes.
Oh, okay.
My twin brother, Jamil, I think you know him. We both went together.
When did you go to USA?
I told you already. That part of it. You can say 1980s. And then up to now, I'm staying here. Since I came to USA, my children said, Dad, we don't want to go back to any other country. We want to stay here. At that time, my older son was only 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
My younger son was. I had, the funny part, I had 3 children. One was born in Asia. The other one was born in Africa. The last one born in America. So they three children
continents
are representing 3 continents. So I'm proud of it also. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Alhamdulillah.
And since we came to America, you won't believe, when I came to America, I told Mom, I'm going to America. She said, Mahan, anga palli olidida. Mahan, whether there are masjid to pray. Then I told her, I don't know, Mom, I have to go and find out. This is what I told her. Because when I came to America, my father was not living. So when we came here, you won't believe, life in America is not like in Nigeria, not free time. You have to struggle when you came here. You have to pay the bills, Especially you have to stay in a rented house.
Yeah.
The rent is killing.
Yes.
Half of the amount of your salary goes as rent.
Yes.
And the cost of living and all that. So I told my wife, unless you also work, it's very difficult. She also can work. I mean, there are a lot of Muslim women working. And then he found out a cashier job, very respectful job. And from there we built up a life. Alhamdulillah, after a couple of years, I bought the house where I was living. Like that, then I moved to New Jersey, where my children were selected to Rutgers University, one of the famous university. Then that is how we started. One more thing I should not forget to tell you. Since we came here, we were so much into our dunya life, this life.
Yeah.
We forgot Islam, Then my older son, he was very much interested in learning Islam, and he always he come and then he made us to realize Islam. We should adhere to Islam and then follow Islam. We were following Islam, but only thing, Iman was there, but practicing Muslim, he is the one. I have to be very thankful to him. Of course, first Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he gave that ni'mah. And then that is how we made one of my sons as Hafiz also.
Oh, okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
So all 3 of them are Rutgers product. graduates.
Okay.
Inshallah.
Yeah, one of my, I actually hosted a professor from Rutgers University a couple of years ago. He
Okay.
came here. Yeah.
Right.
Jerome Williams, he's a African American professor.
Right.
Yeah, he was teaching there. He passed away actually last year.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Now, you see, one of the key things that living in the Western world is exactly what you described. You know, people in Sri Lanka thinks that, okay, these people have gone and everything and escaped, but we have our own struggle when we come here. Partly, you know, adapting to the country and then other things. Other one is the finances. You know, even though these are rich countries,
Right.
the people are not quite rich.
Yes.
As you say, we have to pay the
People think
bills.
that we are rich, but it's not so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. So that has been the case for you as well in the early years. Right.
But one more thing, brother, what I should say, if we live with the dheen, that with Islamic life is good for the children and it's good for the family, the bondage will be there. I noticed the lady who was interviewed last time, he also mentioned that. But she found out here that the family bondage is not there. That is why you find the sadness and depression, all kind of. She's helping the mental retarded people.
Yeah.
I think. So why it is among the Muslim you don't find that? Why we have iman and we have family bondage. Alhamdulillah, my children are so much attached to me because they grown up that Islamic way.
Yeah.
Quran says regard your parents, that they follow that. So we should induce in our children's mind also. Living Islamically will give you the way out.
Okay, now let's go back to Kurugoda and talk about some of the key personalities. You know, when I interviewed Mr. Ghafoor, he talked about some people as well. But particularly, I wanted to ask mainly about this Meezan family or the Meezan.
Yeah, okay. Good thing you asked, you reminded me. Meezan, his name is Muhyiddin. He is my father's sister's son. We call it Kurugoda. You can see in that group photo, he's in the right corner. You can show it that later on. Actually, he started his life not much as a rich man. You know what you call that? I don't know what is the English term for that. You know, buying and selling. It's not buying and selling. He buy the things and export them. What happened? He started his life with Vettila Paktiyavar. Meezan hajiar, we say Meezan Machan. He started his life as exporting. First he buys the beetle and this Erikana. Vettila
Pakuvettila, okay.
Pakuvettila. That is his first initial business. Then really what happened, after that he collected some money. Then for maybe his intuition worked, or for some reason, he collected all the rubber. That time nobody was buying rubber. You know, the sheet rubber, I don't know whether you can remember. In rubber, you know, all the rubber trees were neglected. But some people still, they are cutting the rubber strip and then make that rubber into sheet.
Yeah.
They were selling. He was collecting that. In his, we call it gabada, the storeroom, he put them a lot of rubber sheets. When the actually Second World War started, the price of rubber shot up so high. So he was able to make a lot of money out of it. And what's the funny part? At the same time, the British people started leaving the country. You see, the Second World War, a couple of years, and then British people are leaving. And he had plenty of money. He started buying the estates from the white people, and then he was managing. And you know, we are so close to him, he appointed my older brother as a superintendent of Anubrah estate. That is one of the best estate. He asked him to stay in the superintendent's bungalow. The owner's bungalow he was staying. Mr. Mohsi. I have 5 brothers. One is Mr. Mohsin, Mr. Yahya, Maulana Yahya, Mr. Jabir, Mr. Rafiq, and Mr. Jamil. 5. So Mr. Mohsin was our older brother. He appointed me as a superintendent. And we were living in that bungalow. It's a huge bungalow. And in fact, in our childhood age was spent in that bungalow. We liked that. And then Meezan Machan was helping my father. My father used to, for the charity work and all that. Actually speaking, why he is so grateful that Meezan name was given by my father.
So Meezan is the business name?
Yes, his business name. His real name is Mohideen.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
His real name is Mohideen. He's a business name. And his brother also later on he took this name. Mutu Appa is also Meezan. Anyway, and then my father, he went to India to study Arabic, right? Now all these people are to learn Arabic going outside. You have got a lot of money. Why don't you build one Arabic college in Akurana? You have plenty of land, one of the land, why don't you build? That is how that Meezaniya Arabic College started. Actually, Meezan Machan is the one who started, but his children finished that. 3 things in Azhar happened that still hurt my feelings. One is, when we were in grade 6, English medium was the medium of instruction. That time there was a PTA meeting. I can still remember Principal Aziz came and told us, our class was in the stage. Take out all the chairs and arrange. We are going to have a special PTA meeting. So the PTA meeting was held. Later on we came to know to abolish English as a medium of instruction or not. That was the meeting that was the PTA meeting to decide the future of the children. So maybe majority of them decided not to. But those who were in the forefront, they sent their children to the English-speaking colleges. That is the sad part, but I said And the other thing, when Nugavala was the education minister, he wanted to bring the central college to Akurana. What happened? He asked, give me a couple of acres of land, I will build that school here, not in my area.
Yeah.
People didn't want to give that. Right?
Nobody was there to give land.
Yeah, because those who are rich, they don't want to give a portion of the land because their children are going to better schools. The poor people, they don't have land. Anyway, I'm not blaming the rich people. I got married to a rich family, but anyway, we have to tell the truth. Because I will stay today, but tomorrow our children should learn. If something happened, think about the society, think about the community.
Yes.
And that is how we lost the English medium. Otherwise, I don't have to have this fluent English I would have had. That's why my brothers and all that said. Anyway. But we went to Nigeria and we managed some of them, but with our Tamil medium, our instructional medium. Anyway, that is the second thing. The third thing, for a long time we didn't have advanced level. We had to go to single stream with great difficulty. We qualified with first division passes. We had qualified teachers. They did not upgrade our school. So we had to, and this is another threat. There are 3 sad things when you think about all these things. Only I started writing notice and all that. This outpouring of, you don't call it anger, the disappointment and all that. Ceylon Overseas Service, COS, 69 something like that. I was not employed. Give me $100 rupees. I have to pay for the COS exam. But somehow I managed to borrow here and there and I sat for the exam. You won't believe, I was selected. That is another kissa. What happened to COS exam and how you got highest marks. Some of the papers, for instance, essay, I got highest marks. I won't believe, for 23 hours, 23 pages, for 3 hours, I wrote the essay, beautiful essay. Later on, when I was traveling with Kailash Pillai, was a professor, he was talking to me and said, I read one of the beautiful essay. I don't know who wrote it. I gave the highest mark for the COS exam. Because this talk came about COS exam and all that. That is how he was revealed. Then I asked him what was the title. And then he said, this is the title. Then that title, this is what are the facts mentioned? Yes. Then a little briefly I said, these are the things I mentioned in that essay. You are the one who wrote it so beautiful like that, He praised that. So anyway, that's why maybe he gave. That COS thing has gone, but connecting to that, there is a postgraduate course in international affairs. That was held in BMICH. That was somewhere in 1973, I think. So I followed that course. I was the first one from Akurana to be selected, maybe. Anyway, so I got through in that exam also. For the convocation, 3 leaders were there. That was Srima's end of the period, right? She invited JR, and Gobalawa was the governor at that time. 3 of them were seated there. And in that convocation, JR was promising us, hereafter I am going to abolish COS system. Hereafter, the only people, those who got through SI, that is the International Affairs course, only those people will be selected. He promised. But later on, something happened. After that, nobody was selected from those people who passed that exam. Mr. Lakshman Kadirkamar, we were interested in bringing peace in Sri Lanka. That time, the war was going on. So we were Tamil people, there were some Tamil people, the Muslims and Sinhalese. And there was another society, or AFC, American Friends AFC Council. That group run by some English group people. They wanted to bring peace to Sri Lanka. The other one called us, some of us, and then we had to have some meeting. Soon after that, when we came to know that, I went and talked to him also about Sri Lanka. Even we were living in America, we were so much concerned about our feelings towards Sri Lanka. You won't believe, we came within 1 year, we started one organization. We call it TASMINA, the Association of North American Sri Lankan Muslim, those who live in North America. That association, we have a lot of people now. When I came here, only 2 people from Akurana. Within 2-3 years, I promoted our people to come over here and settle down. I was doing a job, documentation or something like that in the UN. When I was coming through the escalator, I heard somebody calling, Jaleel, what are you doing here? I know very well the voice. It's Hameed's voice. I turned back and see his voice, ACS Hameed. Then I said, sir, now I am here. I heard that you were in Nigeria. No, I left Nigeria. Then he said, let us talk. And he started walking. Now, Numan was there by the side of him. You can ask Numan.
His brother.
His brother, of course, Mr. Numan. Mr. Numan, Mr. ACS Hameed, and myself, we 3 of us are walking towards his hotel. He sent the car, you can go ahead, we want to walk. Then I would like to talk to him. He must be feeling very sad about me, because you won't believe, when I was with him for nearly 1.5 years, I was close to him, staying in Shravasti, going up and down. He knows all that. Only the last minute I left him 1969, later part. I know if he worked for Badudin, we can get something. That was the reason. Anyway, I told him, sir, you send someone here, some people, you have the ability, you are a foreign minister, get hold of some people and then send some people here, I will look after them. And then, in fact, within a couple of weeks, he sent a couple of them.
Mid-80s.
He was the foreign minister at that time, 1986, 87. When it comes to rituals, it reminds me, my father was not so fond of this Kodiyatra, things like that,
Yeah.
And because he thought it was part of shirk. That is, you bring that which idea, you make some dua and all that, looking at the flags and flag hoisting, and what is the motive? And I think in Kurugoda, he was the one who stopped those kind of things.
Oh, okay.
And one time I can very well remember this, a nice story. Sometimes the ladies come and there was a big jar. Next to that, there's a rock. There is, the line with a brush, the sunnamu and the brush. They paint that stone and making dua. My father is watching what these people are doing. And then the lady said, we make dua to get, we don't have babies, so we make dua to this awliya. Then my father said, no, awliya cannot be, you make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And washing or this brushing or this painting, this kind of thing is not allowed in Islam. And that is how my father was little progressive. And one more example, he wanted the ladies to come and listen to the khutbah. So he announced in one khutbah time, the ladies also can come. What he did, he covered the Kanjima room, there is a separate hall. He arranged that room with mat and all that. So ladies started coming, a lot of ladies come and listen. About a couple of months it was going well. One fine Friday, one half-baked Maulavi got up and started screaming, "Idellam bid'ah, Pamulola Palikundwa," something like that. He started shouting. My father came out from his room. He has his imam's room, Who is this shouting? Then he found that one Maulavi, he knows, we all know that Maulavi. He said, if it is a problem, I will tell them from next week, no more ladies should come. If you think it is a problem, it's not bid'ah or anything, but in Rasulullah's time also, ladies come to masjid, it is allowed. But if you think it is going to divide the community, I am not for it. Then he stopped it. He advocated the school, the girls should go to school. Some people were claiming that the girls should not go to school.
So, are you able to speak to this one?
Yeah, they are my seniors. That's the center, this is, there are a lot of people are there. My brother also is standing here, Rafiq is there, Tahir is there, Junaid is there, Marikar is there. They are all our seniors. We are not in this picture. We were in the 6th grade. They were in the 8th grade or 9th grade, like that.
Right.
Yes.
So, what was this period?
This should be 1956.
56, okay.
Azhar, during Aziz's period, it was a shining period. Only for that advanced level problem, he should have stayed there. And he built up the school nicely. And the standard was good. Because of him only, we all were able to produce first division results. And sports also, Kandy district champion in so many fields.
Yeah.
And mashallah. One more thing I forgot to tell you. When we started advanced level, children didn't have enough books. And in our meeting we discussed we have to get some books for them. I can very well remember Dr. Mahroof talked to Iraq Embassy, and then the following day I went to Iraq Embassy and got a check. Well, that time it was 20,000 rupees, that time. I went to so many bookshops, collected encyclopedia and all kind of books. And that helped a lot for that batch, that first batch who got through the advanced level, they still, that was one more thing I should mention. Okay. Not only buying the books, getting the better library, better teachers.
Are you able to speak to this group?
No, that's my father in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can name them, all of them. Okay, that with a black cap, that is one Indian businessman. He's the one, I forgot his name, he's the one who helped when my father arranged the Hajj trip. He's the one who go as a escort.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was also helping to collect money also.
Yeah.
The other one in the picture, Ustad Mansoor's grandpa, is in the
Which one
center.
is it?
It's in
The center one.
behind, the tall one in the back.
Center one in the back.
Center one in the back with
Yeah.
a long turban.
Yeah.
Between Farooq's father and Irshad's father. Farooq's father is next to Meezan.
Just talk from left to right.
Front row, left to right. Seated is my father, Abdul Alim. The second one, Hameed, I think that's Mr. Bashir's father. That's why I have to give you the name. The center is Meezan's father. The third one, the next to Meezan's father,
The white one.
Yeah, that is my father's brother. That is Dr. Rahman's grandfather. Then the last one seated is Meezan Machan's, Mutwa Machan's wife's father. Mutwa means next to Bashir's, that is next to Indian, that is Mutwapa. Between Ustad Mansoor's and Indian, that is Mutwapa. Between Meezan, that is right corner standing, that is Meezan. Right corner standing, that is Meezan. Next to Meezan is Alsu Machan we call it, Judge Farooq's father.
It is such a classic picture.
Yeah, of
You
course.
know, it is the way that our people used to dress, you know.
Yes.
So beautiful. Okay, now just to finish, so what have you been doing lately for the recently, and what do you do currently?
Currently, I love my grandchildren. My older son has 3 beautiful daughters. I like to spend time with them. And I like to do gardening also. So I like to have flower gardens. So when my son built a small extension, I told him, I want to put up a nice flower garden in front of your extension. I made a nice flower garden. Like my house also, you might have seen, I always, gardening is my hobby. And then spending time with my grandchildren. My eyesight is not so good, I don't read much. Only YouTube is helping me to get the knowledge.
Right.
Yes.
Now, tell me what new generation can learn from your generation.
If you ask me one question, my generation gone through a lot of difficulties because of lack of opportunities. But your generation has, that is the new generation, a lot of opportunities. Your knowledge in fingertips. You Google, your knowledge is there. In our generation, we have to look for the library. We have to travel to Kandy, USIS library, Kandy, British Council, like that, all the libraries. We have to hunt for the books. This is our generation. So in your generation, the new generation, they got everything in their fingertips. So they can learn. In the meantime, they can go astray also. All the opportunities there are for them to get spoiled or get better. If somebody is smart enough, they can shine in the future. But they should not neglect their religion. That's my advice. They should hold on to their religion. That brings the bondage. That is in my life I have seen. Through my children, I learn. I'm going through that experience. I see how beautiful it is. So this is my advice to the new generation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jaleel, for participating in this program. Very nice to have you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. I'm also very much thankful. You gave me a very good opportunity. All these years I was suppressing feelings and all that. Somebody opened the door for me to put out. Yes, help other people. That's very important. Allah will help you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Good point.
Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.